important one because it's what lets us know and understand what it is that will promote autonomous motivation. When people feel competent, when they feel related to others, and when they're feeling a sense of volition, they will be autonomously motivated, and the positive consequences will follow from that. So the importance of this is that when you ask questions like, how do you promote effective motivation in the workplace or in schools or in healthcare clinics, wherever it is, whatever domain of life you're talking about, if you're interested in producing optimal outcomes, the way in which you can do that as a parent or a teacher or an employer, the way that you can do that is create the circumstances so that people who are learning or playing or performing for you, so that they will be optimal in their outcomes. What you need to be doing is supporting their basic psychological needs. Now, when it comes to autonomous motivation, there are actually two types of autonomous motivation. When I first started doing this work, I was very interested in the concept of intrinsic motivation. To do something because you're intrinsically motivated means you do it because you find it interesting and enjoyable. That contrasts with extrinsic motivation, which means you do it because it leads to some separable consequence. Okay, so intrinsic motivation is one type of autonomous motivation. The other type of autonomous motivation was really developed by Richard Ryan. It was he who got interested in the idea of extrinsic motivation and whether extrinsic motivation could be autonomous or not. And what he found in research and in other research that we did together is that people can actually internalize extrinsic motivation in such a way as they own it as their own. And when they do that, when they understand the value of the activity that may be rewarded or requested of them, when they do that and identify with the value of it and integrate it so that it's a part of themselves, they will be autonomously motivated, and the outcomes that you observe in such situations will be very positive.
We don't need more successful company, a big company in this time. We need somebody that make a very healthy, good, and natural food. We need more about this. Maybe small farmer or small company. I know a lot of people trying to do this, and I want to do this too. Yeah. Yes, actually we start in the local city named Kaohsiung City. Yeah, we just deliver by ourselves one time a week, and we go to the people's home. We directly to contact to the customer. Yeah, and we know what they think about, what they need. Actually, I'm a cook. Yes, and I was study in a cooking college for 5 years. After that, I work in restaurant for like 2 or 3 years, and at that time, I know a lot of things I never think before about the food. I was sure we always have good food in restaurant, but it's too much chemical things we put in food. I don't like that way. Yes. I decided to come back to my hometown and work with my family for starting this farm. The young people in Taiwan, we are grow up at a very weird time. Yeah. We don't need to worry about no food, but we need to worry about like unhealthy food. Yeah, that's why we are a lot more and more people think about this. Normally, it's young people. They are focused in how to produce very good food. My father is a pharmacist, yes, and he knows very well about antibiotics, and that's how he decided not to use this. If you just use a little, it's not a problem. But the problem is we use antibiotics to keep more and more chicken. So we put before they sick. Yeah, it's a big problem. You're getting the sick getting more and more strong. We grow up the herbs. We have herbs garden, and we boil the herbs, and we take the juice of the herb and we put in the water. Chicken have they go to the mountain. They can play outside, and at night time they will go back to the house to sleep there. Actually, we eat meat for a long time, but we make factory for meat not for a long time. But it got a lot of problem of this. Don't try to be very crowded like a factory way to make this. Yeah, it's impossible in nature way. Yeah, everybody knows this now. People notice more and more. Yeah, you can choose your food if you want to eat vegetable. I think yeah, it's good. If you just want to eat seafood, yeah, I think it's your choice. Yeah. I think if you have a child, you can, when you have time, you can take child to the countryside, go to the nature farm, and you can know how the food, how to produce the food, how your vegetable, how to grow your chicken, how to grow the chicken, all of this. And when you know this, you know how to choose food. Yeah.
Hi, sorry, your microphone is off.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Thank you to remind me. Daisy's theory of self-determination is very young. It was proposed probably 20 years ago when I am a doctoral student. Self-determination refers to a person's ability to make choice and manage their own life. It means that people have some need to own some control over their life, own some connection with other people in their classroom, and they also need a feeling of competence. It's not only about it's not only about intrinsic motivation, but also integrated with extrinsic motivation too. So, self-determination means that people need act with a sense of choice and commitment, and it is based on intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation at the same time. Self-determination theory was proposed actually at 2012. It's a very comprehensive motivation theory that incorporates both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. There are three main components in this series. Number one, relatedness. Number two, competence. Number three, autonomy. Relatedness refers to a person's need to be cared for and care for others. Competence refers to a person's need to feel effective in one's behavior. Autonomy refers to one's needs to feel that one is acting out as a sense of his self-endorsement. When people have a need to feel that they are the master of their own destiny, their life, their environment, their decision, they are at least have some control over their life. At this time, it's related to autonomy. People need to have people need to feel that they are in control of their own behavior. Another need is competence. Competence refers to people's concerns of their achievement, knowledge, and skills. They have a need to build their competence and develop mastery over tasks that is important to their life. Relatedness also sometimes we call it connection, refers that people need to have a sense of belongingness and connectedness with other people. So according to SDT theory model, we need created a supportive environment for this basic need to improve children's motivation. Self-determination is a good tool that can increase students' motivation. According to self-determination theory, in order to achieve optimal motivation, we need to satisfy these three basic needs. Then we can ask ourselves, are you using your skill and knowledge well at work? Are you seeking out challenges? Is there an opportunity for growth? Regard to autonomy, we need to ask ourselves this question. Do you have the freedom to work in a way that suits you? Do your work provide you with a structure that supports autonomy? And sometimes we also need to ask ourselves, how connected are you to the people you interact with? Is there meaningful exchange among colleagues or other or your students? In this theory, Daisy also described two types of motivation, which are autonomous versus controlled motivation. Autonomous motivation refers to acting out of a sense of willingness and choice. Control motivation refers to acting out of a sense of pressure, demands, or obligation. So, in this way, consider this according to self-determination theory. Uh, could you give us some example that self-determination theory can be applied to? How this theory can be helpful in the field of your professional development or your working settings. I want to invite maybe are you ready to talk it? How these basic needs matter to your learning? Do you consider they are very important? Which element is most important to you? For me, for myself, I consider autonomy is most important for myself because if I cannot decide what I want to read, what I want to study, it make me feel sad and make me feel when I read. Fengyi, please.
I want to share something about the teaching from my younger children. Although they are very young, I think autonomy is the best way to let them learn. For example, actually we did some project based, which is actually is based on the children needs and what are the topic they want to investigate or they want to learn. So it's up to their choice to do the project. So this is more self-directed learning. So that they have the autonomy to choose the topics, and then beside that is relatedness also because something that is related to their life, which is like they want to explore water, so they will go to the sink and to find out what is happening, the where is the water come from. So everything is related to their life. So although they are very young children, they have these two things, then they will become more interested to want to learn more instead of the teacher speak a lot, but when they have their interest, so they will learn very good and very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Fengyi. I think even young children, if they can make decision, they are more motivated in learning. So is there any person who want to give us an example to yes, please. Anish, please.
Uh, for me, if I speak about myself, relatedness is the most important,
Oh,
and
really?
uh, and also competence. These two are, I think, equally important for me, more than autonomy. Because I think, in my perspective, most of the things in our life are not controllable, and we should be okay with that. And if if I think that way, it makes me more happy. But I think I need to I need to be able to deal with the environment that I am currently in, and I can control that thing if I make effort. And also, people around me is very important for me to be happy and satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you, Anish. I think people have different personality, and some people need a peer, classmate, colleagues, or they need friends to work together, and some people didn't need that. So if we can create a group that can develop students feeling about belongingness. This also helps students to focus on their learning too, I think. So sometimes we didn't take care about this. We just focus on students' exam, push students to learn, but we didn't understand the belongingness need is very important for some students. If they feel isolated in classroom, they cannot fulfill their potential. So I want to hear more opinion from other students. So Xinyu, do you want to try which element, which need is more important for you? Uh, Self-determination theory describes three basic needs of students. Which is most important for you? Or do you want to share an example about self-determination theory? Competence, autonomy, relatedness, which is more important for you? Or do you want to share example of self-determination theory? Xinyu, you didn't turn on your microphone yet. Are you ready, Xinyu? No, no. Okay, maybe try later. Alona, are you ready to tell us which is more important for you?
Yes, to me, most important in these three ways is autonomy, because I want to choose what I want to do by myself, not by others else. And also, he has, if you are adult, you can choose what you want to do and what you do. And before this, when you're a child, of course, the relatives can recommend you or say you what to do. So that's why for me is the most important in this way.
Thank you, Alona. Some research have shown us the benefits of being a determined person. Autonomous motivation is usually linked with greater overall well-being, such as having a stronger sense of personal commitment, greater persistence, more positive feelings, more higher quality performance, and better mental health. Autonomous motivation is also associated with greater creativity and improved problem-solving skills. Daisy also described the traits of self-determined people. Usually self-determined people believe that they have control over their own life. They usually have high self-motivation. They are autonomous motivated people. They usually act according to their goal and their value. They take responsibility for their own behavior. There are some old saying about self-determination. Know what you want and reach out eagerly for it. There are some examples of self-determined behavior. For example, sometimes a child play with toy only for enjoyment. A student do some exercise because he value health. A person quit smoking because he want to live a longer life with his family. Sometimes a child complete their course because they understand the value of responsibility. Self-determined person they tend to create art their own joy. They choose a career because they own the complete sense of willingness. When you pursue things that are intrinsically motivated and along with your goals, you will feel happier and more capable of making good choice. So there are some old saying about self-determination. Stay focused and stay determined. Don't look to anyone else to be your determination. Have self-determination. It will take you very far away. Control your own destiny or someone else will do it. Hence, in this sense, people are motivated by many reasons. Today we introduce everyone three theory about motivation. But if we look inside our brain, we will see two functions which is related to motivations. They are amygdala and dopamine. Dopamine is a structure in our limbic system. Amygdala is a structure of limbic system. It is very important and play a very important role in controlling our motivational behaviors, especially in the events about fear. Usually people consider it's a center of fear, center of emotion. So when we are scared, in our brain, amygdala work very hard. It's just like a alarm clock. When you are scared, the clock become very loud in your mind to remind you or you need to do something to escape the dangerous situation. Another important structure in our brain is dopamine. Dopamine system support a wide range of motivation behavior, including behavior activation or our effort and task engagement. Dopamine play a role in exploration, driving by novel stimuli triggered. In patients with depressions, dopamine become very didn't work very hard in their brain. So sometimes in some patient with depression, their motivation will become very low because dopamine have a function to motivate our behavior intrinsically. Sometimes in flow state, it will also play a very important role. Dopamine work very hard for our brain, especially this part of frontal cortex. So it will change people's attention, make people become more focused, and make people become happy. And these two these two parts play a very important role in motivation for humans' behavior. So come back to the example of the farmer who produce nature and healthy food. Do you consider which theory is best for explain why people behave this way? Do you consider Maslow's theory is better for explain his behavior, or intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation is a better way to explain his behavior, or self-determination theory is better to explain his behavior? Why people choose a career that and just a little bit money and living in a very remote, very far away mountains, but just because he want to produce some healthy food. If we use our motivation theory, how do you think about his behavior? How you will consider his behavior? Why he behavior this way? Why he do these things? So I want to invite your response. Humans' behavior is actually very complex. So at the early time, Maslow described the hierarchical needs theory that explain humans' motivation and behavior very well. But at this time, children tend to learn by themselves online. Then self-determination theory become more and more important in today's society. We hope children to get good grade, but we also want healthy children who are autonomous and achieve their own potential. If we consider another example, how do you think about this example and this behavior. Why people want to learn tea ceremony?
The Japanese tea ceremony is something that both interests and confuses people when they first visit Japan. With so many steps, utensils, and concepts, the Japanese tea ceremony is both fascinating and difficult to fully understand. In this video, we're going to break down what the Japanese tea ceremony is, but more importantly, what it represents. We highly recommend watching this video before you take part in a tea ceremony of your own so you can know what to expect. Before we get started, it would really mean a lot to us if you could like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for future tea videos. We have hundreds of tea videos on all sorts of different topics, but for this video, we're going to focus on the Japanese tea ceremony. Without further ado, let's get started. First, what is the Japanese tea ceremony? The Japanese tea ceremony is essentially a practice that uses matcha tea as a way to promote a positive relationship between the host and their guest. While there are some complexities and nuance to the Japanese tea ceremony, its core values lie in simplicity. All you need to do is step into the Japanese tea house to experience this simplicity. The tea room is sparsely decorated with nothing but a scroll and a flower arrangement. There are a few objects around to prepare the tea, but these are not the focus. The main focus of the tea ceremony are the four principles: wa, ke, sei, and jaku, and the objects simply serve as a way to demonstrate these principles. Among the objects used in the Japanese tea ceremony are the matcha utensils, which we will discuss next. As the tea master enters the tea room, she will present the utensils to be used in the Japanese tea ceremony. There are 9 main tea utensils we will be discussing today, each of which has its own use and significance. The fukusa. This is the dry cloth the tea master uses to clean off the utensils before preparing the tea. The significance of this is practical as well as symbolic. As a sign of respect, the tea master is cleaning the utensils in front of the guest so that they can be assured that they're clean. Natsume. This is the first item to be cleaned and purified by the tea master. The natsume is also called the tea caddy, and it's how the matcha powder is transported. The matcha powder is often sifted beforehand to remove the clumps, and then it's brought into the tea room to be prepared. Chashaku. This is the bamboo teaspoon used to scoop the matcha powder into the bowl. The chashaku is simply designed, but it's the perfect tool to scoop powder out of the natsume as it has a more vertical design rather than a typical horizontal design. The tea master uses 2 large scoops of the chashaku, which comes out to around 2 grams of matcha powder. This is the perfect amount for a bowl of matcha tea. Kama. This is the iron pot used to heat the water for the Japanese tea ceremony. A perfect square is carved out of the tatami mats, and then it's enclosed by a flame-resistant material. Beneath the iron pot is hot coals that heat up the water throughout the tea ceremony. Hishaku. This is the bamboo ladle used to scoop water out of the kama in order to prepare the matcha tea. The hishaku has a long handle to reach the water within the iron pot, and the tea master pours the water slowly so it cools off just before it's used to prepare the matcha tea. Boiling water is too hot to prepare a good tasting matcha, so it needs to be cooled slightly through this technique. Matcha bowl. This is the clay tea bowl used in the Japanese tea ceremony, and it's also called the chawan. It is made from a heavy clay, and it often has a beautiful pattern on one side. The bowl is preheated beforehand, so it keeps the matcha warm throughout the tea ceremony, and the higher walls of the bowl make it easier to prepare the tea. Matcha whisk. This is perhaps the most famous of the tea utensils. The chasen, or bamboo matcha whisk, is carved out of a single piece of bamboo, and the 100 small bristles move through the water quickly to aerate the tea. This tool has been used for hundreds of years in the tea ceremony, but it still works better than any modern tool. Kensui. This is the wastewater bowl used in the Japanese tea ceremony. Sometimes water is used for things other than preparing tea, like heating up the matcha bowl. This water needs to be discarded, and the kensui is the most graceful way to do that. This makes it so that the tea master doesn't need to leave the tea room during the ceremony. Finally, the chakin.
Sorry. So the question here is why people drink tea this way. We can just take a cup and drink drink tea, but why people do things like this way? Why people spend so many time to demonstrate how tea can be enjoyed?